chink, Chinamen, sick men of East Asia, nowadays perhaps nerds or geeks, they have all been terms used to designate people from Chinese descent. They also reflect the discrimination and racism towards Chinese immigrants. Throughout Canadian and world history, the Chinese people have always been the target of stereotypes and racism. Even nowadays, the discrimination towards Chinese is still present. These immigrants first arrived in Canada. When they first arrived here, the Chinese men had to work for the construction of the railway in Canada. They got the most dangerous jobs and were paid for half a white man's wage. They say that for each mile of the railway, a Chinese man died. However, the only appreciation and thanks they got for their sacrifice was head tax imposed by the Canadian government in 1882. By 1903, it has raised from $50 to $500 per person, making it impossible for the railway workers to reunite with their family members. The Chinese were restricted to certain jobs and did not have the right to vote. Now we're going to see a video clip from CBC back in 1907. As we can see from the video, even during the worst times, the government tolerated the discrimination and turned a blind eye. Now we are going to look at a testimony from a Chinese war veteran from the Second World War. After the Second World War, the Chinese were being elevated to equality with the rest of the white population when they got their right to vote. However, as you will be seeing later on, despite getting their vote, the Chinese are always and are still targets of discrimination in our Canadian society, even nowadays. For example, in an article published by Maclean's, one of the most read magazines in Canada, named Too Asian, the stereotypes against Chinese are openly presented as a fact of truth. Personally, I think that the article is biased. The authors made a general judgment of all Asian students based on stereotypes such as the Asian students are only preoccupied with their studies and are not involved in any other social activities. The article also mentioned one of the mothers of the white students telling another Asian student that he was the reason her son didn't get a space in university and that all the immigrants in the country are taking up university spots. This is not a joke. It's a real live threat, and if left without any reaction, this kind of mentality lead to violence and the gradual hate of an entire race. But what is causing the general apathy of the society following the publication of the article Too Asian? The universities are also filled with many other students from other ethnic groups who succeed just as well. But why are the Chinese students picked out as a scapegoat? Is it because throughout the whole history we have always been the society outcasts and never involved in politics or able to stand up for our rights? You might think there has already been change, like Adrian Clarkson becoming the Governor General of Canada, or Vivian Poy elected as the first Chinese Senator of Canada. So why am I still complaining for the injustice towards the Chinese immigrants? As much as these changes were all good for starters, we need a massive change that will change the whole perception of all Chinese being socially awkward and nerds only preoccupied with their studies. We are humans who are equal to everyone else and able to stand up for ourselves, facing injustice. But for that to happen, the next generation of Chinese Canadians need to get involved into politics and take the fate into their own hands and change the norm. Most importantly, we all need to treat others equally without prejudice or stereotypes. Now we're going to watch a clip from Prime Minister Stephen Harper's apology for the head tax.
We offer a full apology to Chinese Canadians for the head tax and express our deepest sorrow for the subsequent exclusion of Chinese immigrants. Gana Dai Dohi.